All right, on today's episode, we're going to talk about how to know if you're doing the right thing. Here's a question to ask yourself. How do you know you're making the right decision when nobody can tell you the right answer is? All right, that's only for you to decide and you to answer. I can't answer that for you. But what I can do is I can give you some insight, meaning sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel good, look successful, or even make everyone happy, right? It often requires discipline, patience, sacrifice, and the courage to stand by your values. So if you don't have any values or you don't have any courage or you don't have nothing like that, then you're going to stand, you're going to fall for nothing right? All right. I'm going to give you some bullet points right here. They're going to be easy, quick, and to the point. All right. So we're going to go with your values guide your decision, meaning what do you stand for, right? Do your choices align with your principles or not? Because if not, then you're making a decision based off of nothing. If you at least have principles and values, then at least you can go within that realm, right? And sometimes are you making a decision based off of something because it's right or just because you want the approval of others, meaning social media, your parents, family members, anything like that, right? And then also this is a most important one. You got to know when you got to know when to refuse certain things and not cross any lines, right? Meaning if it crosses your values, your principles, then don't do it. Why are you going to do something outside of those? Because that's not who you are. That's not what your principles align or your values align with, right? And I'm going to give you a key point on this one. The right decision isn't always the easiest decision. Boom, mic drop. All right, next one. You can live with your decision, meaning you got to ask yourself whether you'll be proud of the choice you make later. So you want to analyze the situation, however you want to call it. You got to consider how it's going to affect you and others when you make that decision. You can't just go based off of what it's going to make you feel, because you got to think about others. If you make a decision on your own for your own benefits, then it's okay. If it doesn't affect anybody that's important to you or the people that are around you, whether it's coworkers or even family members, right? You also got to value it, and you got to have a peace of mind that can be more valuable than the temporary approval, right? Because sometimes, the approval of others will outweigh your peace of mind, right? Because, you're making someone else happy for the short term, whereas in the long term, it doesn't matter to them, right? It's your decision. All right, next one. You're willing to take responsibility of your actions. That's always a hard one for most cases. Sometimes doing the right thing means owning your actions, whether it's right or wrong. Sometimes we make the wrong decisions and we don't want to own up to it, but the more we don't own up to it, the more we're not going to love ourselves, the more we're not going to value ourselves, and obviously the more we're not going to become who we should be, right? So you can't be blaming the circumstances on everyone else when the outcome doesn't come your way, right? Whatever outcome happens, you got to be like, hey, that's on me. I own up to it. Let's move forward. Let's see how we can do better, right? And even, like I said, if you make a mistake, just admit it. It's okay. And if people want to throw it in your face, good. Don't surround yourself with those people. That's how you know as a man and as a person. And it's like, okay, I value myself more than the opinion of this person or these groups or these people, right? I'm not going to hang around with them. And here's a key point that I want you guys to remember. Integrity isn't about never making mistakes. It's about what you do after you make one, right? All right. Next one. You're not sacrificing your character, meaning you're not sacrificing yourself for the success, money, or even someone's respect, right? You don't want to lose yourself by just trying to get ahead, right? So meaning you can't worry about, oh, someone's, you can't worry about money because is money worth compromising to you, right? Is money worth losing your integrity, right? Is money higher than your character, basically? And also success is being successful worth losing your integrity and your character and who you are as a person and as a man, right? So don't lose yourself by just trying to get ahead. All right, and here's a question that I like to leave you with, guys, on this one. What would you refuse to sacrifice even if it meant becoming more successful? All right, and last bullet point. Doing the right thing may cost you, right? It may cost you a lot of things. It may cost you friendships. It may cost you relationships. It may cost you, a family member, but sometimes doing the right thing means saying no to things, walking away, apologizing, even starting over from whatever it is. Also setting boundaries. You also gotta know choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure or even success. And also last but not least, disappointing people who don't understand your decision. Okay? Because you're going to disappoint a lot of people because they don't see you, they don't value you, they can't understand you, but it doesn't matter. The people that really value you, the people that really understand you, are the people that are going to understand the decisions you made because, like, okay, you know what? I might not understand it, but I can see why he made it. Right? And I'm going to leave you with this key point. You may lose approval by doing the right thing, but you don't have to lose yourself. All right, and here's a closing message I like to leave you with. Doing the right thing doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes nobody notices, sometimes people misunderstand you, and sometimes it costs you something. But when your choices align with your values, you can look in the mirror knowing you didn't compromise who you are just to make someone else happy. And that's it for this episode. Make sure to stay tuned for the Q&A.
Okay, now on to the Q&A. We're going to start with the first question. How do you personally know when you're making the right decision?
All right, so for me, how I know I'm making the right decision is if my values align with what I want it to be and how I want it to be, and then my morals, if it's within my moral compass, if it's what I'm doing is right, because sometimes we don't do what's right just so that we can get ahead in life, so we can take that next step, promotion, etc. Right? So for me, if I'm within my guidelines of making the decision, then I'm okay with whatever outcome, good, bad, etc. Make sense?
Yep, makes sense. Moving on to the next question. Have you ever made the right choice even though it hurt?
Oh yeah, I made the right choice, with friends, with a relationship, family members. And how that looks is basically like, okay, does this person value me in any way? Does this person help me in any way? Or is this person helping me in any way or hurting me, right? So that's how I would, make my decisions. And yeah, of course it would hurt because it's like it was a family member that you would know. It was a friend that you knew for X amount of years. And it's like, you know what, this person is not making me better, is not helping me better, or I'm not doing better hanging around with this person. So therefore I have to exclude myself from this situation. I have to, walk away from this friendship or even relationship, because sometimes in some relationships, if my partner is not pleasing me in any way, shape, or form, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, even spiritually nowadays, then why am I going to be with that person, right? Then I'm just going to be in a situation where I'm just going to be mad, sad, all these negative emotions. But, oh, that person understands me or that person loves me. But it doesn't matter. I had to make that decision even though it's going to hurt me. Make sense?
Hmm. Next question is, can doing the right thing sometimes make you look like the bad guy?
Oh, yeah, of course, especially in today's society with social media, doing the right thing is almost like being the nice guy. You're over here respecting women, you're over here doing, you know, doing the right things as a friend, you're looking out for a friend, you're being, with a family member. But, because of society, they're like, oh, that's a bad thing. And it's like, but what is a bad thing is what we really got to dive into. What is the bad um guy look like, because these people, you know fall in love with that bad boy look, or even the attitude, qualities, even traits. But yet, the good guy, gets left last or gets seen last. But it's like that's who we model ourselves at, is that bad boy look, attitude, or even just not even bad boy, but just bad attitude in general, whether it's male or female. Make sense?
Yeah. And you mentioned about the social media. It can also lead to the being the unpopular choice or opinion.
Yeah, of course. And it's like, oh, I wouldn't do that. I'd do this. Instead of walking away from a situation, you're gonna be petty and, do something to that, make it worse, key a car, break their window, whatever, right? But it's like, no. Walking away, oh, you're the bad guy for walking away out of that situation where they cheated on you, where, they backstab you, they lied to you. It's like, so what? Who cares? It is what it is. That's life. Move on. All right.
Okay, next question is, how important is the integrity when nobody is watching?
So integrity for me is basically doing who you are when nobody's watching, when everybody's watching and when nobody's watching, because that is who you are as a person and that's who your character is. That's who you are. So why are you going to change for someone or even something when no one's there? Right. So it's very important for me, just because it's like you're conditioning yourself to be your true and authentic self with an audience and without an audience, right? We can even explain it like a sports, a sports or an actor, an actress. They're gonna be that person 24/7, whether people are watching or not. So when you get to meet that person, you already know a little bit. Not to the full extent, but a little bit. Okay, that person is this. This is their values. This is who they are. This is how they carry themselves, instead of just questioning it. Make sense?
Hmm. Next one is, how do you handle knowing that someone may disagree with your choice?
I say good. It gives a different perspective from your choices. It gives it a different avenue to say, it's like, okay, this is where I'm going. They disagree with it. Great. You tell me, what do you disagree about it? Is it the whole thing? Is it half of it? Is it the whole thing or is it half of it? So it's like, for me, it's like, I want that, disagreement for that sole purpose, because sometimes my way is not always the right way. I might need just an extra step, or I might need to take off an extra step, because some people have more experience in a certain avenue than I did or than I do. Right. So, that's why I like it when, people disagree with me, because I ask that question. I take it further and say, well, what do you disagree about? Do you disagree with the whole thing, or do you disagree with certain things? And then that's where you have that educated, discussion. And then that's where you can form your own way of, moving as a person and as a man. Make sense?
Yep. It can also develop into disagreeing with oneself.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Next question is, what's the hardest right decision you've ever made? You ever had to make?
Walking away from a relationship, I wanted to fix, walking away from, a relationship that could have, been good, but at the same time, that person didn't want to, I don't want to say like this, but didn't want to change for the betterment of themselves, whether it was a friend or, a partner. I've had it in both aspects. I've had a partner as well, and I've had a friend. The friend, I saw a lot of value in him. Same thing with my partner. I saw a lot of value in her, but that's the thing that I had to learn is like it doesn't matter what I see in that person. It's what that person sees in themselves, right? So if that person can't see their value in themselves, then who am I to change them? Who am I to help them? Because I've already helped them to a certain extent, and if they don't want to be helped, then hey, that's on them. I've done everything I could to help them to become the best version of themselves because that's who I am. I love to become the best version of myself in all aspects. So that's what I look for in a partner and in a friend. I want all my friends to be the best version of themselves. So that's why I help them. Because why not, right? Why not have that group of friends that you're all going to be better? Because at the end of the day, your friend group is going to help you become better. Same thing with your partner. At the end of the day, your partner critiquing you is going to have you become the best version of yourself, and it's going to help the relationship out as well. So that's always been a hard decision that I had to make, because when you make the right decision, sometimes you're going to hurt some people, but that's the right decision for you as a person, as an individual, not as a whole or a collective. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, what advice would you give a young man struggling with a difficult decision?
So what advice would I give a young man struggling with a difficult decision? Well, if you're listening, my brother from another mother, whatever difficult decision it is, just make the opposite. And what I mean by that is that if you're trying to make a decision based off of others or information from others, try not to, or not even try, just don't do it at all. Make decision based off of what you feel is right and what you know is right, whether you think it's wrong at the end or not, because at least you're making a decision based on your experiences, your values, and yourself, how you want to move, how you want to progress in life as a man, because that's how you learn. Make a decision off of what you feel is right at the end of the day. And if you need to, put some emotion into it. And if not, put some logic into it. Either way, you make it out of your own way and your terms. You put the decision on your terms and conditions, right? So in the sense of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to be as a friend, as a partner. Even though some people might not like it, who cares? They're not me. I run a relationship different than others. I run a friendship different than others. It's like a business. You got to think of yourself as a business. This is how I'm going to run my business. People are going to like it. People aren't, but it doesn't matter. I will soon be successful. And that's how you got to look at it, right?
Yep. Just go for it.
Hey, let's go. And that's it for today's episode. Make sure to tune in next week. Woo!